I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it a back day. Yeah, I got game, God in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it turnpike miles. Yeah, it's Boo signing on.
Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Once a Week. I'm Giannouloudis, and today we have a great message for you. We have Andrea Urciuoli back on the show, and guys, we wanted to bring to you this topic of free will, and also touch on our perspective of that. And Andrea, you brought this message to us with free will. We were talking about this before the video got started, and it had so much power behind it, and our ability to make these decisions on our own that some people may not like, and yet that free will of making that decision could lead to something great for us.
Yeah.
So dive into that with us. What is that?
So free will, like, of course we know we all have the free will to do whatever we want in life, but easier said than done, right?
Exactly.
Like, I grew up in a very old school home. My dad's from Europe, and he was raised in a place where at a certain age, you know, you get married, you have 2 kids and a dog, and I would sort of follow underneath the footsteps of my husband, just be a good wife and clean and cook, get a little part-time job, raise the kids, and everybody's supposed to be happy. Well, when you speak of it, and like if you watch a movie about it, it looks delightful and fun, but
definitely.
Are you actually living your dream? Internally, are you going to be happy? And I just never felt that that was my road, my trajectory, for a better word. So I remember as a kid, I always wanted to work in the fashion industry, and I always wanted to live in Manhattan. And I did live out those dreams. He actually didn't want me to go either. He wanted me to stay home and get married. And I everything inside of me said, move to Manhattan, work in the industry, and get a degree in fashion, and work in the business of fashion. And I did it, and I had a blast.
Yeah.
But I was in New York City for 9/11. I experienced some really horrific things. I even developed a little bit of PTSD, and I went to therapy for it, and I cured myself, and I did the right things. And then yoga and meditation came into my life, but it was amazing, and things started to shift and change. I didn't want to live in Manhattan anymore after 9/11. Not fearful, but I got bored of it. 15 years went by, I experienced this industry, it was great, but I wanted something different. So when I trickled back to Boston and got another job, because that's all I knew, in sales. And then I met my husband and had kids, and everything was still under that bubble of perfection of working in a shop, having the kids. Well, you know, my husband was traveling and all this stuff. I still internally, there was some piece of me missing. Like, just picture a pie, and there was a piece of the pie that was like out of my body. That I wasn't getting up in the morning saying yes. So when I had to explain to my family that I wanted to end this marriage, things weren't working. I mean, everything just blew up. But sometimes that bomb has to go off in life for us to have this epiphany. That I knew I was going to upset people. I knew that people were going to turn their back on me and call me crazy or spoiled or this or that. And all of those ugly things did blow up in my face, but I wasn't living my calling and my purpose that we talked about in the last video of I wasn't living my free will to do what I wanted to do. And to do what I wanted to do now is to help people get out of codependency. You know, I was raised by that sort of codependency where the wife stays home and doesn't say very much and you don't really have an opinion, and I would have been trapped for the rest of my life, miserable and unhappy, if I stayed in that bubble. So as soon as I broke free and felt all the pain of they didn't agree with me and they turned their back on me, and how does she know what she's talking about? She didn't go to school for social work and psychotherapy. You know what? I started to realize I do know what I'm talking about. I lived it and I experienced it, and now I'm running with it because this free will is saying, I could feel like this energy, like the universe telling me to go for it, because every time I take a step forward, it just feels right. And I'm happier.
I get that, And, you know, you touched on so many key points that I think are so important to everyone, where, you know, your parents had a story for you. They had a template for you to follow, which part of resonates with a lot of people watching, where like, hey, you grow up, you graduate, you go get married, you have kids, you have family, you go about all that. The man does this, the woman does this. Yeah. And that template, at least from where I'm at, has been passed down to the point where we're telling our kids to follow this. And then something comes along where you feel that innately in your core to go out and follow your dream, follow the fire in you, the spark in you, to follow whatever you want to call it, your goal, to follow that. And it was your free will to break away from that template and start writing your own story instead of following someone else's story for you. And that's when life started to happen.
Yes.
That's when your life started to fall into place. And yes, it didn't stop, which people always take that's going to happen. It didn't stop negative aspects from happening, but it kept crafting you into who you are today, where you can go out and help people, which years ago, your family never saw for you. And then you said, I'm going to do it because this is what I feel called to do. Kind of like you said, where something was missing from the pie.
Yeah.
Something that was missing was you following your dream.
Yes.
And the pie may have shifted, but you're doing what you're called to do. And that's when you say you feel universe, feel energy, or whatever it is, something guiding you, because you made the decision to follow it.
Right.
Now you're acting in it, now you're peaceful, you're happier than ever.
Yes.
I think when we follow the template and the story that people set out for us, we never truly have that innate peace, that innate happiness, that innate joy, because we're doing what we want to do.
Right.
But if you never step out to do what you want to do because you're following someone else's template for you, is it really you, or is it what someone else wanted for you? Right?
I think it's called radical transformation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something else I wanted to talk about too.
Yeah.
To get from here to get to here, you're gonna have to go through some really uncomfortable stuff.
Yeah.
And if somebody showed me this this plan on a piece of paper, I probably would have said no.
Yeah.
I'm not going there.
Yeah.
That's gonna hurt, and that's ugly, and that's uncomfortable, and this one's not gonna talk to me anymore, and I'm gonna have to go through that, and I'm gonna have to go through, financial difficulty, all these things that anyone else would say no way.
Yeah.
I probably would have said no way too.
Yeah.
But now that I've reached the other side, and I will call it the other side because you get to the other side, when you go through those steps, I would do it all over again.
Yeah.
I would do it all over again because there's growth.
Yeah.
And there's change. And
exactly.
you have to, we talk about this so much, Billy, that you have to almost feel that uncomfortableness, that pain to get to that happy place.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to feel anything, or then you're not human.
Exactly.
You have to feel that really, really happy, elevated emotion, and that really sadness for you to say, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with feeling that bad anymore. All right, if you want to go back to feeling that elevated emotion, that excitement, then you have to feel it before it happens. So a good example is, I had my kids a little bit late in life, and somebody once told me that I was not going to have a second child. No, I take it back. She said I had an 11% chance of having another baby. Yeah. As soon as she told me that, I was like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I got super excited. I'm like, I'm going to be healthy, strong, smart. I meditated. I went to acupuncture. I read books. I envisioned the whole thing before it even happened. And it came to me on a silver platter. Yeah. Because I wasn't like, no, maybe she's right. Yeah. Just listen to the doctor. She has a degree. I don't. I didn't live in that place of fear. Yeah. I saw what I wanted, and I had to have that for my first child, and I saw the picture, and it was already created in my mind. So that's when I went to that place, which can happen in your career, your personal life, or whatever. I just use that as an example.
No, and I think that's an example that before reading Becoming Supernatural, which is a book we've talked about in so many of our videos, that book teaches you how to do exactly what Andrea just explained to us with this example of her child. And Andrea did that years ago, prior to reading this book, and she thought on it. She elevated an emotion. She connected that elevated emotion to that idea of having this child, a happy, healthy kid. And now she has that happy, healthy kid when a doctor told her, like, hey, I want to try that if I were you. Yeah. Andrea wouldn't let that stop her. When someone comes to you and tells you you can't do something, which happens when the old template is being about, like, your parents said to you were, I don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think you should do that. And then you kind of stepped out and said, you know what, no, me,
Yes.
I want to do this,
Yeah.
whether that's moving away from your family or having the kid that you knew you could have, and now you have the kid that you could have. You had all these great experiences because you didn't let the world tell you you can't.
Yeah.
And that's always what pops
I
up.
basically did the opposite of everything I was told to do.
Yeah.
Like I was asked, like, don't move to New York. It's a crazy place. It's a bad place. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's a bad place and you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, well, 9/11 did hurt me, but all the wonderful experiences prior to that
Yeah.
changed me, and
Yeah.
it was such an education. I wouldn't change that. It was like the best 15 years of my life.
Yeah.
You know, don't end your marriage. Don't. That's bad. The bad things are gonna. Yeah, there were bad things that did happen.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of money. Our kids were upset. Like things, but then look at it now. Like
Exactly.
you have to go through the uncomfortable
Yeah.
to get to the more comfortable. And I was so uncomfortable before,
Yeah.
but now I'm living
Exactly.
this. I'm not living a lie anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have my mask on anymore.
Exactly.
And the mask doesn't have to just be for a bad person. Good people can wear a mask too,
Yeah.
because you're trying to portray that this person that you're really not.
Exactly.
I'm not going to tell you I'm really happy just for lack of a Facebook, for a Facebook profile or a LinkedIn profile, just to show you that it looks good. This isn't making me happy.
Yeah.
This whole facade, it's just a facade.
Exactly. You've been able to walk in a peacefulness and a joy in your own right because you've been able to walk in what you've wanted to do.
Yeah.
You've made that free will decision, and because of that, that's where that peace came from. Where, yes, like Andrea said a couple times, no matter what in life, you're going to go through something that's going to change you, shift you, change your outlook on things. And if you can keep the right outlook, that can be the best thing for you. And that resonates with me because in my own personal story, going through pain and everything I've gone through, I can now tell people with a smile on my face, I wouldn't change it for the world. And it shocks people to say that. They're like, what do you mean you wouldn't go back and like stop that pain from happening? It's like, no.
If
If I didn't go through the struggles, the down aspects of life, or the pain in every area of life, then truthfully, I wouldn't have the knowledge I have to help people. I wouldn't be so driven to create something to help people. I wouldn't try to get these videos to at least help one person every single week, because that all started from a drive of that pain aspect where you wake up from those moments.
Yeah.
And when you can wake up and see like, hey, I don't want to follow that story that I've been told my entire life. I want to make my own decision and follow what I'm being called to do. That right there, it's the game changer for everything. And you really start to shift with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody told me, 20 years ago, I would be diving into a mindfulness meditation course program where I was going to sit in a room for half an hour and not have any thoughts.
Yeah.
I would laugh at that.
Yeah.
Like I was running to my office in Manhattan every day with a big, backpack and briefcase and skipping lunch and working 15-hour days and selling on the phone and talking to people all day long because clearly I like to talk.
Yeah.
And to shift 20-something years later to being put in a room of training my brain to not think, to not speak, to not, like, that isn't who I am, but it is now.
Yeah.
It wasn't who I was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have appreciated any of this work.
Yeah.
An elevated emotion, I would have said, what is that?
Yeah.
I just want to sell. I just want to meet more people. Calming your brain down, talking about cellular levels and what cells mean in your body. And that I was taught by Dr. Joe Dispenza that cells have feelings and energy in them. And the more you drink the negative Kool-Aid, your cells are happy with that peptide addiction. I didn't even know what peptide addiction was. Or when you keep drinking the happy pill or feeling good, well, your cells really like that too. And all this stuff that we've learned through neuroscientists, if you told me this 25 years ago, I would have said, not me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's so true. And like with the Dr. Joe Dispenza book, neuroscience, neuropsychology, the diving into the cellular aspects. My friends I haven't talked to in years, sometimes like, oh, like, what are you up to? I was like, oh, I just read a ton. What do you read? Neuroscience. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
The kid that we play basketball with every single week, you're reading neuroscience?
Yeah.
But when you take a step for something more for yourself that you know, you could be the only one that know you could do it, that believes in you, that's a clear-cut sign
Yeah.
that you're supposed to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. And the underlying factor to this free will message that I mentioned at the start of the video is the perspective.
Yes.
And your perspective shifts as you go through these experiences, as you make a decision for yourself, and as you continue to grow in life, your perspective always is shifting, if you allow it to. And changing that template, that story for yourself, a big perspective shift that I think is so powerful, and Andrea and I talked about this prior to starting the video, that we felt would be great for you guys, is when you can make these decisions, it doesn't have to be this massive decision. You could use your free will to make a small decision that could benefit you in such an incredible way. It doesn't to me, it's those smaller decisions that you make that later in life, when you achieve or you're at where you want to be at, when you look back, it was actually the smaller decisions that were the giant decisions that get you there. It was the smaller decisions that were the smaller steps to help you make the giant steps where you need to be. We always look into things as like, oh, I have to make this massive giant shift, this massive giant step to get to where I want to be, which truthfully, it's probably the smaller decision to make that shift that gets you there. So an example I always like to use with people in my age group doesn't like this, but you look at it where I could spend a Saturday night going out to the clubs and everything like that, or I could spend a Saturday night creating something, creating another piece of information, learning, reading a book. Which one is going to get me to where I want to be, the dream I want to have? Is it reading or is it going out to the club?
Yeah.
And truthfully, that's something that I came to terms with, where I can make that decision, where I want to learn, I want to be better, because I feel like there's something so great out there that I don't want to waste time doing something else. But that's a free will decision. You have the free will to make the other decision. You have the free will to invest your time in whatever you want to. But what is calling you, and what decisions could you make if you had the free will to do it? Which you do.
Right. I remember back in the day when we're talking about perspective, and that's okay, we all change, and what you love 20 years ago may not be the same thing that you love 25 years later. So for instance, I couldn't work in a field that I wasn't visually stimulating. Something wasn't visually stimulating to me. So that's why I got into the fashion industry. I was so attracted to whatever I was selling, whether clothes or jewelry or coats and shoes, just like somebody wanting to sell Corvettes or Mercedes. That's what that person wants to do, because it's exciting to them. It's just this eye candy. And I went through that, and I'm not knocking the business. I loved it, and I learned so much. It was amazing. I still love it. I dabble in it. I still sell jewelry right now, and I get excited about it. But that's all I wanted. And I got the feeling after the sale from the visually stimulating. The item was stimulating to me. Now, after all these huge life-changing experiences, I get the feeling from an emotion. I get the feeling I need to feel without selling a product. Sort of selling an experience. Yeah. For lack of I like to work with people that cannot get out of their own way. I enjoy working with people that want to transform, but they're struggling with, what do I do? They keep doing the same thing over and over and over without making any changes. And I don't advocate making poor changes, but they keep doing the same thing, and they keep asking the same question, and that's what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. You keep asking the same question over and over and over. You're getting the same results, but you're getting up, drinking the same coffee, eating the same breakfast, driving down the same road, meeting the same people at the same company, going home, going to the gym at 5:30. Nothing has changed in 30 years, but you want a different reaction.
Exactly.
That's what he's saying.
Exactly. We live out of the same cycles we've been following our entire lives. It's like the template. That's what gets passed down, is that template. We all follow that same template until you make the shift to change it. Yeah. And when Dr. Joe Dispenza dives into that, when you can make the small shifts, the smallest shift, I'm talking about the smallest shift, it changes your entire day. He talks about it in there where just switch the hand that you brush your teeth with in the morning. Yes. I've been doing that for the past month.
I'm going to try that tonight.
I've been doing that for the past month in the morning. And I'm just sitting there it's so different, but it causes cellularly, it causes your brain to shift its wiring. It sparks different parts of your brain because you're so used to doing this. Just like you're saying, just like you just touched on. used to having the same coffee, used to having the same breakfast, you take the same way to work, you take the same turn to get to your office, you take the same.
Talking to the same people.
Why do you expect a shift?
Yeah.
But if you can make the free will decision, which you have, something small. Something just, if there's anything you get out of this video, make a small shift that's completely out of your comfort zone this week.
Yes.
And then either, if that is brushing your teeth with the opposite hand, it's going to feel extremely weird because it does. But it's such a small shift that changes, honestly, a giant level.
Buy yourself a journal. And I know so many people say, I hate to journal. I have a ton of friends that think I'm nuts because I like to journal. And sometimes it gets daunting to me too. I haven't picked up my journal in a month, and I picked it up the other day. And then once I started to write some goals for the week, not huge. I'm not telling you to resign from your career and break out of, leave your boyfriend. I'm not saying to make drastic. Maybe drive down a different road. Change your diet a little bit. Maybe get a 30-day membership to a different gym that's free to meet new faces. I don't know, small. And the list doesn't have to be 25. It could be 5 things. I'm going to call this person I'm nervous about. I haven't talked to this person in 15 years. I'm going to find them and call them and wish them well. I don't know. Just 5 different changes.
Exactly.
I bet you that week will be different.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the perspective shift too, taking a small step. Something as small as what Andrea just touched on, grabbing the journal and writing out, the goals.
5 goals.
5 things, just 5 small things. But that's the thing, they're small. Like you just said, the gym aspect, the diet aspect. Yeah. It doesn't have to be that. Go for a walk. If that's your goal, go for a walk. And understand, the power behind that is the fact that you chose to do it and you did it. Raise the scale. Yeah. Next week, raise the scale. Yeah, exactly.
I recently told a friend of mine when she said long goals make her nervous and give her nervous energy, and they do. I think if you write down all your goals and you look at the paper, I think it causes anxiety. So I said, okay, make them tiny, small, and just a few, 4 or 5. And she said, well, where do I start? And I said, well, what's the first thing you do in the morning when you get up? She said she gets up and grabs a Diet Coke. And I was like, okay, that's one change we're going to make right here. Get a glass of water, because she doesn't like coffee. Get a glass of water, throw a cucumber in it or a piece of lemon. She's like, oh, that's not going to change my life. I'm like, oh, no, it will. Start with that. Start with a walk instead of going right for the television. Are you able to leave the house for 20 minutes and walk around your block? All these tiny changes, and then I recently saw her, and I can tell she's starting to shift.
Exactly.
Get rid of that fructose syrup you're having for breakfast every morning. And she's cleaning out herself, and her foundation's already getting stronger because they're just minor, but this can turn into this, which can turn into that.
They grow.
Domino,
Yeah, the shifts grow.
Yeah.
And guys, this entire video has had so much information. The free will aspect it's yours. It's been given to you. I believe it's been given to us, and whatever decision we want to make, that's completely yours. We're putting it out there to you. Use it for whatever you feel called to do.
Yes, do something different tomorrow. Change something when you get out of bed.
Yeah, and watch your perspective shift on that as well.
Yes.
The small decisions that you make today create the bigger changes tomorrow.
Right.
And that's the message right there. But Andrea, I thank you so much for bringing this message to us. I hope that it helped someone out there, and I believe it did help someone out there.
Me too.
But guys, if there's any questions that you have on the topic of free will perspective, comment them below, and we are more than happy to answer them for you. And we can't wait to put another video out there for you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made.